Good morning. Welcome to the show. This is Employment Opportunities with Randy Clark. And if you happen to miss the show or miss part of the show this morning, you can always go to WOIL TV 47 Daybreak Employment Opportunities with Randy Clark, or go to the WOIL Facebook page. Now, my very special guest today, Miss Tracy Thomas, the director of the B.B. Comer Memorial Library. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, Mr. Randy.
I'm so glad you can make it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just get right down to it.
Okay, we got a lot to talk about.
Let's talk about some things at the library. Everybody in town and the surrounding areas needs to know what goes on at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's start out with the brown bag.
Brown Bag is a series that we do, and we run it a couple of different times a year. And we're lucky we have a great sponsor for that, First Bank of Alabama, and we have different speakers that come in. We have curtailed it a little bit. We used to do an 8-part series, but we scaled it back a little bit to 5 weeks because of COVID, and we're trying to make sure the room is socially distanced and that people feel safe coming in for that. So we've been very, very lucky to be able to do that series again. It'll start back again in February.
Okay, great. Okay. Now this is my favorite room. I went through it yesterday, and I'm going to try to get over there and go through it again today. The genealogy room.
We're very lucky. We have the Lane Family History Center. That's our genealogy room. And the History Center has got so many things in it that people may not be aware of. But one of the things that I was showing you, for example, is just, you know, the library staff every day, they do an index to the daily home obituaries. So when people call us and they say, you know, my uncle died in 1990 and can you find the newspaper he was in? I need a copy of the obituary. They look in that index, they can look it up and find things really fast. So there's family histories, there's a wonderful art collection, wonderful marble in there, just a lot of good things in there.
Beautiful art in there.
There's beautiful art.
And the marble sculptures. And all the Avondale. I love that.
Well, and as I was showing you yesterday, we have files that we call the vertical files. And the vertical files are when there are things that come available, programs from graduations, you know, just old articles that people bring us that they found in a scrapbook somewhere. Those are things that we think maybe there's never going to be a book written about that. But somebody may come in here one day and want to know about, you know, the tornado that hit in Sylacauga, those kinds of things. We have those things saved in folders called the vertical files, and those are in that room as well. So there's a great collection of local history in there, and Avondale is a big part of that.
It is. Okay. A little bit more about the genealogy room. You cannot check anything out in there.
That's right.
That's just to go in there and look at.
It's all reference.
Okay.
It's all reference. So the library staff can make copies of things, and there are some things online. And one of the things that I shared with you yesterday in relation to Avondale is the Avondale Sons. And it's the complete collection of the Avondale Sons, the whole history of the Avondale Sons. So when Avondale Mills closed, they gave us those. We had those digitized because we want for people to be able to access those whether they're sitting at home with their computer or whether they come down to the library to research. So you can actually go to the library's website and you can access the full text of those Avondale Sons. And we've been told that was kind of like the Facebook of the day. You know, if somebody had a baby or they went on vacation or they got married, it was chronicled in the Avondale Sons. So there's a lot of history in those papers.
Great. I was looking through, I've got a stack of Avondale Sons and I was looking through, and a lot of them's faded out, and I was thinking, well, I can go down there and get a copy and look at those, because I'm sure all of us ancestors from Sylacauga, at least one time you worked at Avondale.
Avondale Mills touched everybody in Sylacauga.
They did.
And that's one of the reasons that we're so thankful that we have those pieces of Avondale history at the library for people to remember, because it brings back a lot of memories when people see those paintings, just like we looked at yesterday.
Those paintings of the old Avondale kindergarten, the kids out on the playground, just amazing. And the paintings of Kemp Helen, that brought back so many memories.
The paintings are the Douglas Crockwell Art Collection, and so we were given those when Avondale Mills closed here in Sylacauga. Stephen Felker said, we would like for these to hang together indefinitely. We don't want the collections separated. And, as I shared with you yesterday, we've had people that have come down and offered to buy those paintings because what is significant about the paintings is that all of those paintings feature Avondale families, whether it was Sylacauga Avondale or Pell City Avondale, they feature Avondale Mills families. And so a lot of the scenes are very nostalgic, like it shows the fabrics. The people remember those patterns and those fabrics. There's a painting of Camp Helen, and there's just, there's a picture of a man coming out of the mill after it's shipped, and his kids are walking down the sidewalk holding his hands. And so we have people that have stepped in through the years, and they've tried to identify the subjects in the pictures.
Right.
So we have a notebook in the genealogy room laying there where you can come through and flip. What makes those paintings also significant is they each ran as ads in the Saturday Evening Post. So these are the original paintings that were ads in the Saturday Evening Post. And the ad is there in the notebook, and also if the subjects have been identified, their name is in there, and there's a lot of local names in there.
They are. And it's not just the Sylacauga Mills. There's other cities in there too, aren't there?
There are.
Okay.
And Douglas Crockwell, if you come in to look at the paintings, you'll see that his style is very similar to Rockwell, or maybe Rockwell was similar to him. I'm not sure the order that came in, but they were sort of contemporaries. And so there's a feel about those paintings that's just very nostalgic.
It is. Okay. Let's move on a little bit. Okay. The weekly story time.
Weekly Story Time is sponsored by Bluebell, and that is for small children, and they come into the library upstairs to the second floor to the children's department. Miss Mandy Cantrell, Miss Marilyn Wills that work with us, they do story time each week.
Okay, great. Now, this is really important about booking a librarian.
We have a lot of people that come in and they just have some simple questions, how do I do this, how do I do that on the computer? And of course we help them on the spot. If they just need 15, 20 minutes worth of help, we'll stop and help them. But sometimes people need a little more in-depth help or instruction. Maybe they're trying to fill out a job application and maybe they don't understand, they're having trouble reading, or they just can't really navigate the application. So what we have is a program called Book a Librarian, and you can go on our website, you can go on our Facebook page, and there's a form that they can fill out, just a simple request, and you get to choose the time you want, and you get an hour of time with one-on-one with the librarian. And so we realized that people needed a way to schedule that time in, and it works really good for us too, because we can earmark that time just for that patron.
Right. That relates to this show, not just an application, but maybe help them on their resume?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there, we feel like if you teach a man to fish, if we teach them the basic computer skills and we teach them how to navigate the online world, then they'll be successful because they'll know how to do a resume, they'll know how to do an application.
Right.
We also do test proctoring. That's another thing people need help with, is maybe they can't drive to the university where they're in class and the teacher will let them proctor the test. The teacher will actually transmit materials to us and we sign off on it and we just administer the test for you. It's a $10 fee because we usually have to fax and scan documents and that, but it's another great service that keeps people here at home.
What a great program. Thank y'all for doing that.
Well, thank you.
How about the Memory Lab?
The Memory Lab is a great new addition at the library. Within the last year or two, we wrote a grant. It was a federal grant, and we wrote it for the Memory Lab. We saw that Washington had done this and just thought it was such a neat idea, because we know that when people are cleaning out things, they find old pictures, they find old documents, they find old VHS tapes, old cassette tapes, and they want to preserve those things in a digital format. Well, we wanted to make sure that all families can do that free of charge, because those types of conversions can be pricey sometimes.
Sure.
And so we just feel like all families are deserving of preserving their family history and their memories. So the Memory Lab has equipment where you can convert VHS tapes, cassette tapes, 8mm tapes. You can take pictures and scan them. If you've got the old picture packs that have the little strip negatives, you can even digitize the strip negatives with some of the equipment that we have up there. So it's great because you can put all that on some type of digital storage of your choice. You provide your storage medium, but we will provide the lab and we'll provide the instruction for you to come in and do that.
Okay, great. Now, y'all also have computer classes.
We do. We have computer classes. We had to stop the computer classes when COVID hit just because of the space in the room. We didn't want to keep people in a situation that was not safe. But we are about to start our computer classes back. And we have several great staff members that just love working with people. And they really do start very basic. They start from, let's set you up an email, let's show you how to log in. They start very, very basic depending on the needs.
And you
it's
have
free.
a great staff.
Our staff is the
I walked
lifeblood
in
of the library.
yesterday, and everyone was so nice, greeted me when I come in the door.
you.
They didn't know me, and I just felt warm when I walked in the door.
They're the lifeblood of the library.
They are. Okay. Now, the meeting room facility.
We have several meeting rooms, and of course we have the big auditorium, and we host events for people all the time. Every week we're hosting something, so we have some great meeting space. We do have a small charge for that because we have to set it up, heat it, cool it, clean it up, take it back down, but it's a very nominal fee.
Right. This might be what you use when you come by there and there's not a parking space to be found. Y'all got something going on in the meeting room.
That's
okay.
usually what's happening.
Okay. Now, the free study rooms.
The study rooms are upstairs on the second floor. When you walk upstairs, if you look to the right, there are 4 glassed-in study rooms. When we renovated the library in 2002, we saw this concept in other libraries, that it's great because the library staff can see in and monitor what's going on, especially if there's maybe teenagers that want to work together.
Right.
It can be monitored, but it's your private study room.
Right.
And so they're first come, first served. Just go in, take a seat, hook up to the Wi-Fi, whatever you need to do.
Okay, great, great. Now, very important to Sylacauga, and I know Dr. Spears, Dr. Ted Spears, heads this up. Let's talk about our marble.
The marble. We are very blessed that we have the Magic of Marble sculpture collection there. For people that may not know how those sculptures come into the library, Dr. Shirley Spears and Dr. Ted Spears, they work very closely with the Marble Festival. Dr. Ted Spears actually created the Marble Festival because he realized that we have such a unique resource in our marble quarries and that it's uniquely ours. It's not going to pack up and go somewhere else
That's
to work.
right.
It's ours and
It's here to stay.
It's here to stay. And so he really wanted to shine the spotlight on that industry that means so much to the community. But the art of actually sculpting marble was not being done. And so he there was some sculptors in Italy, and they worked with the State Council on the Arts, and all that birthed into the Marble Festival. And they actually write the grant every year that pays for the Italian sculptor to come here and do a sculpting symposium, if you will, for a couple of weeks. And other sculptors can come in and take advantage of it for free, and they get a great experience in Sylacauga. When those sculptors leave and go home, they get to take their sculpture with them, but the master sculptor, the Italian sculptor, leaves their piece here, and we get to keep that at the library so that we house that collection together. And as you saw yesterday when you come in, if we have a chance to get any other pieces, we have some local, like Frank Murphy and Craig Brown. We have some local people that we have beautiful sculptures from them as well.
And they're everywhere in there.
They are.
They're so beautiful. Can you touch just a little bit on how our Marble Festival got started?
Sure. Dr. Ted Spears usually tells this story that, Governor Riley was touring over in Italy, and they took him to, show him some white marble, and said he kind of laughed, and he said, I've got this right down the road from my house in Sylacauga, and it just kind of birthed out of that. They thought, well, a sister city concept with Pietrasanta, Italy would be great for Sylacauga. And Avondale Mills had just recently closed, and so our textile industry had gone away, and that was devastating for our community. And Dr. Ted said, I want to do something so that people understand we still have a fantastic resource in our quarries, and there are 3 quarries here. And we need to do something to shine the spotlight on that, but marble sculpting was just, that art form was not being done here. We have quarries, that crush the rock and use it for additives, and then we have the architectural that uses it for countertops and floors, but nobody was sculpting marble. And so they decided to write the grant to the State Council for the Arts, and they said, let us get an Italian sculptor that can come here, because in Italy they were still sculpting the marble and using it for that purpose. And it just birthed out of that, and I believe this past year was our 13th year. Right. The year that COVID hit so hard last year, we did not get to have it. I mean, year before last, this past year we did have it. And so we have a lot of sculptures representing those
We do.
years of doing the Marble
Right.
Festival. So if you want to see some great Italian sculptors' works, come by the
Oh,
library.
there's some beautiful works in there. And, you know, a lot of people don't know, but if you do your research, you would be surprised how much marble from right here in Sylacauga is all over Washington, Montgomery. It's just amazing at the places that Sylacauga marble is in other places. I mean,
It's all over
everywhere.
the world.
It's all
It
over
is.
the world.
We have a book at the library for sale. It's the history of Sylacauga marble. Ruth Cook wrote that book for us, and she put a lot of research into it. And while she was researching, we would have people that would call the library and say, hey, I've got this piece, and it was sculpted at Gant's Quarry. We've got a couple of leads we're following where people say, and it's things that people would recognize, we think this is Sylacauga marble. We're just trying to verify those things. So
Right.
it's got a great history.
It does. It does. Just a little bit more on the Crockwell art collection.
The Crockwell art collection is there at the library. It hangs together. They're gorgeous original pieces. But again, that notebook is there, and if you sit down and look at that, you'll recognize some Sylacauga names.
Right. Those are they are beautiful. I love them. Okay. Can you hang with me just a minute?
Sure.
I got a couple of job announcements to make. Okay. Now, let me tell you about a couple of jobs right here in Sylacauga. And Harvey's on Noble. Harvey's is adding to their team. They need hostesses, servers, bartenders, and they're looking for someone passionate about serving with excellence, or motivated, ready to join a growing team, making an amazing experience for their guests. And right down the road here in Chillisburg, Hometown Barbecue and Grill. They are looking for a couple of hostesses and I think a couple of grill cooks. Okay, now, one thing that's dear to our hearts right here in Sylacauga, and I need to talk about her for just a minute. Miss Booker at Booker's Barbecue. We want to send a thank you to Miss Booker at Booker's Barbecue on Norton. On Thanksgiving, they served free meals to the community. She will continue this on Christmas Day. So I want to thank Miss Booker for what you're doing for our community. And who does this? Miss Booker does this. It's amazing,
It's amazing.
To spend her Christmas Day slaving over a stove and cooking free meals for our community.
Absolutely.
Okay, one more thing. I would like to thank Jimmy Dale, Chris Davis, and Robert. This is my last show for this year, and I appreciate it. And from my family to yours, and from Tracy's family to yours, we would like to wish you a
Merry Christmas.
and a Happy New Year. I love you, Sylacauga.